Hey guys, it's BW and we're back out in the garage. In this video we're going to set up our e-brake handle and cables. I think you guys saw in the last couple shorts I put out where we made our own trim flange and boot for the handle. We got that handle off of Amazon. It's pretty cool. It's like the low car ones were like $165 on Speedway, and they were, I don't know, I think the cheapest one I found on Amazon was 200 bucks. But then that one popped up, $51. So I ordered it and it came in. And it's really nice and it's well built too. So I'll put a link to that handle in the description. The thing is though, you will have to make your own trim flange and boot, because the ones that Low Car offer won't fit over that big handle. All right, so there's that. So if you take a look into the car, we have the area marked out in gold markers where we want to put our handle. I made it the markings so that this is going to sit next. Excuse me, I'm putting it in the wrong way. We got to trim this out so that this will fit down on there, and we can mount these two bolts to the floor. So that's the first job. Let me get that knocked out, and I'll bring you guys back in. Alright guys, let's mount this handle. You guys saw me build the flange, you saw me build the boot, or sew the boot. Let's go ahead and install this thing. Alright, we got to get something to cut out this center part. Alright, let's cut this center section out. I'll be as careful as I can. Okay, well we got that cut out. So now we got to lay this down in there, exercise it to make sure that the handle's going to go the whole way up and the whole way down, and it is, so we like that. Let's just get our marker and mark out where our two bolt holes are going to go. One there and one right there. Let's get those drilled out. All right, well we got all the burrs and everything swept up so we don't inadvertently cut ourselves. Just set this down on there, and that looks like it's going to fit really well. All right. Just going to kind of put some tape up here just to kind of hold it, and I'm going to go down underneath and get the nuts started. And I may have to go grab the wife to hold one side while I tighten it up. We'll see. All right, we got it mounted up. Now we're just going to see if we can get our vinyl and fluff it around a little bit. And it looks like the vinyl's going to go right down. We're probably going to have to tuck that tail in a little bit, I would think. But let's take our flange and place our flange down over there. That's going to be pretty cool. Let me just move this around and then we'll drill and put our screws in. All right, well, we got the trim flange and the boot mounted. Now we have somewhere to send our cable. That's going to work out good. All right, guys, we're ready to start putting this thing together. So we're unpacking everything. I've already showed you these clevis brackets that we're going to use for the back of our disc brakes. They're generally for the drums, like I explained, but they're going to work for our application with the Ford brakes that we have. Then we have this clevis and block. That's where the inner cable is going to fit to on these set screws into the block, and the other end goes onto the handle that we purchased and will be secured with this pin. All right, and then you also have, this will catch the outer housing, and then the inner cable will go through them. We mount them about 2 inches or so, 3 inches away from this block, so there's enough room for the cable to travel. Take a look. Right, now that you guys saw that, then the only other thing the kit comes with is these hanger brackets for the outer housing of the cable. So it's pretty simplistic, I think. But let's just go ahead and install it together. Let's get these cables unpacked and get the inner cable out of the outer housing, and then we can start routing the housing and get ready to start cutting things. All right, first thing we want to do is lay this cable out flat. All right, get them laid out flat. All right, then we want to grab the inner cable and we just want to pull it out. All right, after we pulled it out, we may as well go ahead and grab our clevises and we'll feed those through. All right, fed through. And then we're just going to take these and we're going to set these aside for right now. And repeat and do the same thing on the other side. Go. And we're just going to make sure our balls down inside the clevis like we talked about. And we're going to set these aside for right now until we're ready for them after we get the housings routed and installed. I feel like it's worth noting, I need to show you guys this bracket that I showed you. There's ferrules that you see them. They slide on the outer housing. They're going to go inside these aluminum nuts whenever we're ready to finish up and get these cut and put in. They also request that I put a little bit of Loctite, which we're going to do inside there so that they stay in and they're nice and secure. All right, guys. Well, the first thing I think we want to do is we want to install this outer housing to the back bracket of the brake. Let me put this wrench on because I think that it's going to be almost impossible to turn this nut. So I think and this housing's just laying loose. So I think we just, yeah, it's going the right way. I think we'll just slide it in there and we'll be able to ratchet this on there. I'm hoping that this threading on this housing's long enough because our bracket's really thick, you guys can see. And this is a nylock nut, so as long as we get into the nylock, or the nylon of the nylock nut, we'll be all right. If we don't, I'm going to have to go to the hardware store and get half nuts, and I'll just have to put Loctite. But it looks like we might make it. We'll see. Let's find out. Let's put this bolt back on the nut. Luckily, the cable's just hanging loose in the front to make this a little easier to do here. Looks like we're gonna be just fine. Looks like we're gonna get right into the nylock. And it said don't over tighten. I don't want to obviously damage anything, but we want to make sure it's tight. So, and it is. That's nice and tight. So now we can just take and slide our wrench off. All right. And I'm just gonna repeat the process on the other side, and then I'm just gonna let these housings lay loose under the car right now, and then we're gonna jump up front and we're gonna install those where the housing's going to end up. And then we'll work on routing these in a safe location so that they don't get burned by the exhaust or chewed up by the drive shaft. All right. Okay, you can see where I put a nut rivet into the frame right there, and we secured the outer sleeve to the portion of the frame far enough away from the exhaust so it won't be an issue. And then we put another nut right up here on the bracing right before we get up into the tunnel, and we got it secured to that point. We also, over on the other side, we went to the top of our brace right there. I just used a nut and a bolt right there, okay, coming out of our brake to that, and then we put another rivet nut right there on the other side of the brace right before we go into the tunnel, so it's nice and secured right there. Now we need to move to the front and mark our sleeves to cut. Okay, so you can see we got our bracket mounted, and if you take a look up top, this is what we did. We used button head type bolts for the floor so they're nice and flat, and we actually even dimpled down a little bit so that the brace underneath is almost straight across, not perfect but almost straight across. Okay, so now what we want to do is take our outer sleeve right here. We just want to bring it up, and we want to leave it, we want to like bring it up and then push it back just a hair, and I'll make a mark right there. And if we cut that, we should be good. And the reason I wanted to push it back a little bit, because it's going to constantly want to push forward and want to stay inside that sleeve. All right, it'll just help a little bit. We want to do the exact same thing on the other side. I want to bring that side up, push it back just a hair, make a mark, and now we need to cut those two outer sleeves and install those. All right, well, we got those cut, so we want to pop these in. You see, just push them back a little bit, pop them in the hole, they go right in. Same with this one here, bend it a little bit, pop her in, and it goes right in. All right, and we got plenty of clearance between the drive shaft travel and the outer housing of the cable. All right, now we got these furrows we want to slide in, and they want us to put a little bit of Loctite on them before we put them in. And that's what we're gonna do. Put a little bit of. All right, let's get these cables fed up through the outer housing. As long as they look how nice and easy it slides, that's a good thing. When we come, all right, we're coming out the other end. Very good. Tons of extra cable. Now we want to take and we want to make sure our little ball drum or whatever you want to call it is down inside our bracket, and then we're going to take this bracket, snap her in. There you go, it's snapped in. All right, so there we go, we got that. You guys can see the brake's going to engage. All right, so I'm going to repeat and get the cable through the other side, and then I'll bring you guys back up front, and we'll get these cables trimmed. Okay guys, after we fed the cable up through, all I did was feed it into this block, and we cut the cable excess off, but they're still in here in the block loose, as you can see. So all we really want to do now is take a pair of pliers, and I want to just it's kind of tight. I'm going to do the best I can here to see if we can just pull on the cable till it's just taut, and then we can get these set screws to grab the cable. It's really tight, so let's see if I can get it from this side maybe. You got to be careful not to get the brake to start engaging, but I don't think we are. You just get the first one to start there, and then we'll go after, you know, because they'll just grab and hold it, and then we can come back and we can really tighten them up. But that's just taunt, you know, so we're going to have this full throw right here for adjustment in the future. And I think there's some adjustment back at the brake. If I took the wheel off, I have to look. I can't remember. It's been a while since I had those apart. But I think there is. I just want to make sure the cable's taut to get the stretch out of it. And like I say, just get that one set screw to just grab it a little bit, and now we can go through and just tighten them all down. And then we'll test and make sure that it engages the back area. Test that in a second. It should work out good. We'll find out. Set screws into the cable really good. There we go. A little tight spot right here. I don't know how much of this you guys can see. I don't know if my big clumpy hands were holding back, but all right, that's what we got. So let me go up top and pull the handle, and let's see where it's at. I'll leave the camera run so you guys can see this portion of it, and then we'll go back and look at the brakes and see if the arm pulled forward. All right, guys, we're going to call that a BW garage success story. You saw I put the camera back there and pulled the handle again so you could see at the wheel it engaging. It's the exact same on both sides. I'm thrilled with it. We got a ton of adjustment in the future as the cables stretch. The big test will be in, I don't know, a couple weeks to a month or so when we got this thing moving under its own power. We'll take it out of the shop and we'll put it on an incline and just make sure. I believe there's adjustments if I took the tires off. It's been like a year since I seen the inside of them brakes, so I can't remember. But I'm pretty sure we engaged. Irregardless, we have adjustment. If you're interested in the parts that I used, I will put a link down there for the wheel wood, cable, kit, and the handle. Can't say enough good things about the handle. I mean, the low car ones were $160, like I said at the beginning of the video. This was 51 bucks. It's solid. It's a really cool deal. The thing is, you'll have to make your own boot and your own trim like I did in those shorts I showed you last week. All right, so that's what I got. I'm going to go ahead and stick this up. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, and it sure does help me. And hey, don't forget to hit the like and share. All right, till next time, take care, everybody.